The rain mirrored the storm inside me. I'd always prided myself on our life, a beautiful home, a successful career, a loving wife. Or so I thought. It started subtly, little inconsistencies in her stories, late nights at work, a guardedness I hadn't noticed before. I dismissed them as stress, the pressures of her demanding job as a concert pianist. I was blinded by my own confidence, convinced our bond was unbreakable. Then, I found the antique music box. It wasn't something we owned. It sat on her dressing table, a delicate, silver piece intricately carved with scenes of a moonlit garden. Inside, a single, folded note. The handwriting was undeniably hers, but the words, they spoke of a passion, a yearning, for something beyond the confines of our life. A life I thought I knew intimately. The melody of the music box now haunts my waking hours, a constant reminder of the betrayal that shattered my world. The scent of jasmine, her favorite perfume, lingers faintly in the air, a cruel taunt of what was and what will never be again. The music box was a relic, an anomaly in our meticulously curated life. It wasn't a gift from me, nor did she ever mention acquiring it. Its presence felt wrong, out of place. The silver was tarnished with age, the carvings depicting a scene of lovers embracing beneath a silver moon. A scene that felt eerily familiar, yet utterly foreign to my own marriage. The note inside was short, a few lines of poetic prose filled with longing and regret. It spoke of stolen moments, of a connection that transcended the mundane. It didn't name him, but the intensity of the emotions poured onto the paper was undeniable. I felt a cold dread creep into my bones, a chilling realization that the woman I shared my life with had been harboring a secret, a forbidden love. The delicate craftsmanship of the box felt like a cruel irony, a beautiful object concealing a devastating truth. I'd always admired her talent, her dedication to her craft. The way her fingers could coax such emotion from the keys of a piano was mesmerizing. Tonight, she was performing a Rachmaninoff concerto, a piece filled with longing and despair. As I watched her, bathed in the warm glow of the stage lights, I saw a flicker of something in her eyes, a sadness that mirrored my own. Was it guilt? Regret? Or simply the weight of a secret she carried? I'd always believed her passion for music was her solace, her escape from the ordinary. Now, I wondered if it was also a refuge for something else, a hidden sanctuary for a love that wasn't meant for me. The music swelled, filling the hall with a melancholic beauty, a soundtrack to my unraveling world. We had a life that looked perfect from the outside. Dinner parties with friends, vacations in exotic locations, a cozy home filled with laughter and love. I clung to those memories, desperately trying to reconcile them with the betrayal I had discovered. Were they all a lie? Was the warmth, the affection, the intimacy, all a carefully constructed illusion? I replayed each moment in my mind, searching for. I wandered the beach for hours, seeking solace in the vastness of the ocean. The waves crashing against the shore seemed to echo the turmoil in my heart. The darkness felt comforting, a refuge from the harsh reality of my situation. I felt utterly alone, adrift in a sea of betrayal and despair. The moon, a pale and distant orb, offered no comfort. I wondered if I would ever feel whole again, if I would ever trust anyone, least of all the woman I had loved for so many years. The salty air stung my face, a physical manifestation of the pain that consumed me. The photograph was grainy, taken from a distance, but the emotions were unmistakable. They were laughing, their bodies close, their hands intertwined. It was a moment of pure, unadulterated joy, a joy that I had never shared with her. The image felt like a violation, an intrusion into a private world. I stared at the photograph for hours, trying to decipher the story it told. How long had this been going on? How deep did their connection run? The image was a stark reminder of the intimacy I had been denied, the love I had not been worthy of. The bar was a refuge, a place to numb the pain with alcohol and anonymity. I sat alone, watching the other patrons laugh and talk, feeling like an outsider in my own life. Each clink of glasses, each burst of laughter, felt like a personal affront. I ordered another drink, hoping to drown out the voice in my head that kept repeating the same question: why? Why had she betrayed me? What had I done wrong? The bartender offered a sympathetic glance, but I turned away, unable to bear the pity in his eyes. I found myself drawn to the small, delicate things in the house: a porcelain teacup, a framed photograph, a hand-knitted scarf. Each object held a memory, a whisper of a life that was slipping away. I traced the floral patterns on the teacup with my finger, feeling the smooth, cool surface beneath my touch. It felt like holding a fragment of a lost world, a world of innocence and trust. I barely recognized the man staring back at me in the mirror. The lines of worry etched on my face, the dark circles under my eyes, they were a testament to the emotional toll of the betrayal. I had lost weight, my hair seemed dull, my spirit broken. I felt like a ghost of my former self, haunted by the memories of what had been and the uncertainty of what lay ahead. Her side of the bedroom felt strangely unfamiliar. The clothes scattered on the bed, the perfume bottle on the nightstand, the half-read book, they were all reminders of her presence, but they offered no comfort. The room felt empty, devoid of warmth and affection. It was as if she had simply vanished, leaving behind only a lingering scent of jasmine and a void in my heart. I started packing, a mechanical process to fill the emptiness. Each item I folded felt like a farewell to our life, to our home, to the future I had envisioned. I didn't know where I was going, but I knew I couldn't stay. The air in the house felt suffocating, filled with unspoken accusations and haunting memories. I needed to escape, to find a place where I could heal, where I could rebuild my life. The highway stretched before me, an endless ribbon of asphalt winding through the darkness. The headlights cut through the night, illuminating the road ahead, but they couldn't dispel the shadows in my mind. I drove for hours, lost in thought, trying to make sense of what had happened. The silence in the car was deafening, broken only by the hum of the engine and the distant sound of the wind. I found a small cabin in the woods, a place far removed from the life I had known. It was simple, rustic, but it felt peaceful. The air was clean and fresh, filled with the scent of pine and earth. I spent my days hiking in the woods, reading books, and simply being alone with my thoughts. The silence was a balm to my soul, a welcome respite from the noise and chaos of my past. I started to heal, slowly but surely. The pain didn't disappear entirely, but it became manageable. I learned to accept what had happened, to let go of the anger and resentment. I focused on the present, on the simple pleasures of life, the warmth of the fire, the scent of wood smoke, the beauty of the natural world. One day, I stumbled upon a field of wildflowers. They were vibrant and colorful, a splash of joy in the midst of the quiet landscape. I sat down among them, feeling a sense of peace I hadn't felt in years. It was a reminder that even after the darkest of storms, beauty can still bloom. I kept the photograph of her, tucked away in a box. It was a reminder of what we had lost, but also of what we had once shared. I didn't dwell on the past, but I didn't erase it either. It was a part of my story, a chapter one couldn't simply forget. I started to forgive her, not for her sake, but for my own. Holding on to anger and resentment was like carrying a heavy burden. I realized that forgiveness wasn't about condoning her actions, but about freeing myself from the pain of betrayal. I began to write, pouring my thoughts and feelings onto the pages of a journal. It was a way of processing my emotions, of making sense of what had happened. Writing helped me to understand myself, to forgive myself, and to move forward. Years passed. The pain faded, replaced by a quiet sense of peace. I learned to live with the scars of betrayal, to see them not as marks of weakness, but as badges of resilience. I had survived, I had healed, and I had found a new way to live. I rediscovered my passions, pursuing hobbies and interests I had long neglected. I painted, I gardened, I spent time with friends. I embraced life with a newfound appreciation, a gratitude for the simple things. I learned that life is unpredictable, that love can be both beautiful and painful. But I also learned that healing is possible, that forgiveness is liberating, and that hope can always be found, even in the darkest of times. I found peace in solitude, strength in vulnerability, and ultimately, a new understanding of myself and the complexities of love and loss. The journey had been arduous, but it had led me to a place of acceptance, a place of hope, a place of my own making.